Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse, and in today's segment I want to discuss with you urinary tract infections, also known as some type of infection in the line of your pee. And we're going to talk about what they are, why they matter, and why we should actively prep against and for them, for disasters and also for everyday stuff. So first off, let's talk about urinary tract infections. What are they and what parts of the body do they hit? Primarily, you're going to first feel them. Ladies, raise your hand if you've ever had one. You're going to first feel them whenever you go pee and it burns. And you're like, whoa, what's up with that? That's an odd sensation. And then it keeps coming back because you keep having to pee more and more and more. What ends up happening with a urinary tract infection is everything really from about the kidneys all the way down the connector tubes, the ureters, to the bladder, and then from the bladder out the pee hole. So the urethra would be the pee tube that takes it from outside of the body from the bladder. So it's the connecting road in between the bladder and the exit point of the body. We're keeping this G-rated and pretty chill for our viewers out there. So that entire system right there, that's what gets attacked in a urinary tract infection, okay? Usually urinary tract infections are going to start from the outside and work their way up the tract and back up. What we really don't like is for them to go a long time without getting fixed. So we're going to talk about some things to store and what to do with them. Okay. First off, if you're looking for a good item to store for your home medical kits and also for your long-term disaster medical kits, these little test strips are really nice right here. I'll put a link down in the description box below. But really it helps isolate if what you've got cooking is really a urinary tract infection or just a generalized virus or bacterial infection. Usually UTIs, urinary tract infections, are going to be bacterial, especially if there's a few practices going on. Not changing your underwear regularly, especially ladies. Women tend to get UTIs a lot more than men, okay, because our pee tubes are usually shorter than men, okay? So it's a lot easier for bacteria from the outside to kind of migrate up the pee tube and then sit in the bladder. And once they get to the bladder, they like to grow and prosper, especially in the case of diabetics, okay? Because a lot of times your diabetics, there will be sugar in the urine, especially in poorly controlled diabetics, okay? So that bacteria gets up there into that happy petri dish of a sugary bladder and they just bloom, okay? And what we want to do is to definitely get ahead of that. If the bacterial infection blooms in the bladder and it's not dealt with swiftly, it can ascend up the ureters to the kidneys, and then you've got a kidney infection, and that's really bad. We definitely do not want that. It's extremely painful. It can be life-threatening, okay, if it's not dealt with. So we just want to be proactive and guard against urinary tract infections in general. Something that tends to happen a lot of times with women who aren't able to bathe, aren't able to regularly change their underwear into freshly laundered and clean underwear, it tends to just foster an environment of ease for malevolent nasties to get up there and infect people. So in addition to purchasing the strips here, I'll put a link down there to kind of help differentiate and to check and make sure that really is what it is. Let's talk about some other things we can do to cut down on urinary tract infection risk. Number one, stay hydrated. Now this seems really easy at first, but there are parts of the country right now, certainly in California, where water availability is significantly decreased, okay? And this is in happy times, when we still have a grid and rule of law and all these other happy things. Water tends to become a very precious resource, especially when there's a lot of energy expended in getting clean water. So one of the things people will do in order to triage that usage is they'll start cutting back on people's water consumption, okay? So for your women especially, and also people who are just naturally prone to getting more urinary tract infections, that decrease in hydration can increase their likelihood of having a UTI. Another thing that we can do, aside from drinking a lot of water to help keep the kidneys and the bladder and everything flushed out, is to have a high volume of pee. So basically pee hard, okay? Pee hard. And actually I learned this when I was in microbiology in college. I had a great microbiology instructor, and she used to say, if you want to prevent your UTIs, then pee really hard, because you're just washing those bad boys off the inside of the lining of the urinary tract, okay? And it's true, there's a mechanical disruption there to, you know, sort of like a baptism, if you will, a baptism to wash the nasties off the inside of the urinary tract. So that's another thing you can do. Also, to increase the acidity of your urine. And there are different ways to do this. A lot of people will swear by cranberry juice. I personally don't like consuming high quantities of cranberry juice because of the sugar involved. There is an acidity component to them. I find that the best thing to do is to actually take the extract, and I'll put a link down in the description box below, the cranberry extract. Azo makes a really good supplement for it. It works marvelously. Another thing you can do is to consume apple cider vinegar and water. I'm a big fan of the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I find it's the best. It's raw and organic. It has a lot of the good, happy bacteria in there. So when you consume it, usually I just go with a teaspoon of it in 8 ounces of water 3 to 4 times a day. That works really well. But what you're talking about here is the human cost overall, right, of getting a UTI and keeping a UTI. When folks get a UTI, it is miserable. Like, you're spending a lot of time on the toilet because you're basically the little sphincter, how shall we say it, the control gate that connects the bladder to the urethra and goes to the outside. The bladder gets really irritated, and so it makes people feel like they have to pee all the time. That's not something that I want to be dealing with in a disaster, for sure. It's not something I want to be dealing with in general, but especially when your external circumstances are not so great. We definitely want to be limiting the amount of battles that we are having to fight. So, you know, the human cost here is significant. And also, it's just a miserable thing, right, to have to deal with this. Women especially are going to be more highly affected by this just because of our anatomy and the way that things are. But this is something that we should actively prep and plan for, guys. Because when it comes right down to it, your comfort, the comfort of your people, the health, welfare of your people is going to directly translate into the successfulness of your group, right? What is a group but a bunch of people getting together? So I'll put links in the description box below to all the things that I recommended today. Definitely stay hydrated, guys. That is a big part of it. I hope today's video was helpful for you guys. If you did enjoy the video today, please subscribe to me, like me on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter. Also, if you're interested in learning more about ways to help your family, definitely come out to class. Medical Prep 101 and 201 are taking place all over the country, and actually right now I am writing the curriculum for 301. Really excited about that. 301 is going to be a 2-day class. Medical Prep 101 and 201 are 1-day blocks, but the 301 is going to be a 2-day class. So I'm working on that, and I'm also going to be unveiling an austere birth class here later this year. So there's a lot of exciting things coming down the track for you guys. I hope it was helpful for you guys. Definitely stay hooked into the Facebook page. That's where I do most of my interaction with folks every day. So if you have not made your way on over to it, definitely go ahead and make that happen today. I hope it was helpful for y'all. And for now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.